Hi everybody, this is the baseball hype, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, and welcome back to the baseball hype. Hopefully like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're here back at the baseball hype. Did not have a video up this morning because the late live stream last night, didn't have time for it. But the Mets won last night on a walk-off 3-2 against the scum-sucking Braves. And it was a great walk-off. Mets got very good pitching last night. The bullpen was great last night. Jose Butto pitched really well with 3 scoreless innings. And, of course, the Mets pulled out the W on a very important stretch. As you know, we're 4 days away from the trade deadline as I organized myself. You'd think I would have done this before we started, but oh well. But we're back here at the baseball hut talking about our Mets. And now they're going to be, I think, we're pretty much settled in on the idea that the Mets are buyers now. What they're going to go and get, well, we're going to find out. They need some bullpen help. Where it is, at least from my point of view, the Giants are probably going to move Blake Snell. Not that it matters. The Mets don't need him, but that means that the Giants are probably going to be sellers. So I would hope that the Mets would think about getting a couple pieces there from San Francisco, one being Trevor Rogers, the lefty, and Michael Conforto. The Mets could use another bat in this lineup. I'm not totally sold on Starling Marte coming back healthy. We've seen in the past on him that he's not played well when he's been hurt. So I don't really like the idea of sort of waiting around for him to get himself righted. We've seen this plenty of times over the last few years with him, that when he's not healthy and he's not 100%, we don't get any kind of production out of him. So that's not really something that I'm looking really. I look at him sort of as a realistic thing. The Mets could use some more help off the bench. They could use another lefty off that bench, another lefty bat off that bench. DJ Stewart is a cluster F. He had 3 at-bats last night against Chris Sale. I guess he struck out 3 times in that game last night. Totally overmatched. Or maybe it was the night before. It doesn't matter. He's been terrible. The Mets could do a hell of a lot better on the bench. And if you had him Michael before on the bench or playing on a regular basis, you'd be in great shape. And I think that, and he doesn't have to come in here. He doesn't have to be a savior. He's just a professional hitter. We know he can play the field. I don't know how his arm is now since he had that surgery 2 years ago. But he's been a player that we know him really well. The Mets did not want to let him go a few years ago. They wanted to give him a 5-year deal. But prior to the 21 season, he turned it down. But that is the guy I've targeted. I hope the Mets would get. And as I said, the Giants, the word is that the Giants are probably going to sell their 6 games under 500. They lost 3 out of 4 games to their ancient rivals, the Dodgers. Also, I mentioned the Dodgers are trying to trade their lefty starter, James Paxton, to the Red Sox. That's sort of been the rumor early on the last half hour or so. That deal's probably going to go through. Also, I mentioned that the outfielder Randy Arozarena got traded to the Mariners. I mean, you can just imagine. They said that since Jerry DiPoto took over the Mariners, they've made 15 trades with the Marlins. What did the Marlins have Jerry DiPoto on speed dial? Hello, Jerry. Hello, Jerry. You want to make a trade? They just, hey, what's going on? You just pick up and say, all right, I'll make a trade. That's how Jerry is. And it doesn't take much to make a deal with the with the Mariners these days. I think Jerry wakes up and he hired a general manager that's willing to deal under him. There's no problem making a deal, and they got a good team. They're trying to win that division. But that was the big trade last night. That happened really late. That happened after I went to bed. I saw this at 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up again, checked my phone, and saw that deal came up on my MLB.com app. I actually got the MLB app on my phone. But going back to the Mets, the Mets obviously need bullpen help. I mentioned Trevor Rogers. They desperately need another lefty in this bullpen. I know Jake Diekman had the best outing of his year on Tuesday against the Yankees. when he struck out Horseface. I mean Aaron Judge. But the Mets could use another lefty, a better lefty. Trevor Rogers would certainly help. And like I said about Michael, these guys have high salaries. You're not going to have to give up a lot. So to me, that is kind of what... and I think that if Michael came back here, it'd be a bit of a renaissance here. I think he'd be very happy to come back here, in my view. Now, we have some players here. I was going to do this video about this article from SNY, but I'm just going to run down a couple of names, basically the Mets farm system a little bit, to give you an idea of what the Mets have in their top 10, 15 players. They mentioned some players here. Chaz Chisholm Jr., I don't think the Mets should go anywhere near him. I don't think any team should go anywhere near him. To be honest with you all, I've heard that he is a bit of a difficult guy in the clubhouse. Let's have a great clubhouse. No reason to bring in a guy that's a cancer, quote unquote. Luis Robert Jr., he's not nearly as bad. I don't know what his reputation is, in the clubhouse, but on the field, you see why the White Sox are so bad. Garrett Crochet, let the buyer beware. That goes for any team. You're going to trade premium prospects for a guy that you think you're bringing in for the start, and then you're going to put him in the bullpen, because you got to manage his innings. Because he's coming off Tommy John surgery. He's never been really a starter in the major leagues. I don't know about that. And Mason Miller, they mentioned here, but the thing about Mason Miller is he hurt himself. I guess in the walk-off win on Wednesday, he broke his pinky on his non-throwing hand. They had to put him on the injured list. So he is out. So he's not getting moved. I didn't think he was getting moved anyway. Tanner Scott, they mentioned Tanner Scott. I would stay away from him. Even though he's a free agent, you'd have to give up some premium guys for him. And he walks a hell of a lot of batters. And he's going to want to be a closer. He's going to be looking for closing money after the season. They also mentioned Jesse Winker. They said he should be at the top of the list. I would stay so far away from that guy. It's not even funny. He's been a mediocre major league player, in my view. But we, as Met fans, we take him more seriously because he's killed the Mets for the last 10 years. F him. Okay? And we should stay away from these Met killers. We've seen in the past when the Mets have brought in guys that have been quote-unquote Met killers, and they've done nothing for the Mets. Tom Glavine's one of them. Remember Tom Glavine? Tom Glavine killed the Mets when he was with the Braves, and then when the Mets brought him in here, his last start, never forget that. Never forget the last start of Tom Glavine's career with the Mets. Now he killed the Mets that final day. But just run down the Mets farm system a little bit. I would mention that I'll have a video on the Baseball Hut 2 and some work on the Prospect Hut today. I've been very busy working. I've had a very different schedule this week, and been sort of focused in on this channel primarily. And you see I'm in a different room today because in the process of painting parts of the house, so I can't do certain things in certain rooms. So just run down the Mets' top prospects. Some of them are injured, some of them are not. Jet Williams is injured. He's missed the whole year. He hurt his wrist. He had to get surgery. Christian Scott, who pitched for the Mets, he's been shut down for 2 weeks. Hopefully he's able to come back, but he'll be on an innings limit. Drew Gilbert, who's been hurt most of the season, he started playing. He had a bit of rehab down in St. Lucie, and now he's back at the Syracuse team. He had a great shot to make this team some point this year, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it this year. Unless he plays really well and he gets here in September and they get desperate. He's not on the 40-man, so there's no rush for the Mets to call him up. Ryan Clifford, he has hit like the Dickens, like the Bandit. I don't know what word to say, but he's been on fire in Double-A, but he does strike out a lot. He's been able to get his batting average at a respectable level. His OPS is at a great high rate, almost 900. He's been really good, but he needs more time. He's not ready. Ronnie Mauricio's hurt. He's out for the whole year. Luis Angel Acuna has been very disappointing this year. He had a good month of June, but really the rest of this year has been terrible. One of the big stars of the Mets pitching staff they have in the minors is Brandon Sprout. A lot of people talked about him being here. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think they're going to rush him under any circumstances. He's currently in Double-A right now. Blade Tidwell, up until recently, has been struggling. Nolan McLean just gave up being a two-way player. He's not a pitcher. Carson Bench, who the Mets just drafted last week. They announced yesterday or the day before that they signed him to a contract, to a professional contract. He's given up being a pitcher. He's just going to be an outfielder. And that's great because when they say if you focus in on one or the other, the one that you focus in on does really well. And then the other big star, the guy that has risen up out of the Mets abyss of prospects, is Jonah Tom. The Mets drafted 2 years ago. He's been doing great, and he's a guy to keep an eye on, especially this offseason. But these are guys that the Mets are not going to move. A guy that could move is Alex Ramirez, who they put on the 4-man roster, but quite frankly, folks, he's not had a good year, so he could be moved at some point to some other team that may look at him as a guy that could be moved, a guy that needs to change the scenery. Dom Hamill could be a guy the Mets could put in a package. Mike Vassalo could be a guy that could be moved in a package. These two guys in particular are in AAA for the Mets, and they could be guys that, or Tyler Stewart, I believe he's in AA right now. These are guys that could be moved in a deal very easily. They're not the top notch of the Mets farm system. They're number 4 or 5 starters, or at least that's what the projection is. And I'll have plenty of videos for you today. Hopefully, we'll have a game tonight. The Mets are playing against the Braves again. The scum-sucking Braves, best way to describe them. And of course, we're going to have live streams on Saturday, big live stream on Sunday, live streams on Monday, and of course, big live streams on Tuesday. We don't call Monday or Tuesday. We call Monday or Tuesday around here. But we're going to have big shows here, plenty of videos, and hopefully they'll like it. We have a lot of fun here, believe it or not, and you get to see different parts of this place that you were able to get me, and you see the fruits of that, and I appreciate it. I'm being honest. Well, thank you for watching this video, and of course, please subscribe to Baseball Hut. Getting close to 5,000 subscribers, and I thank you, and I'll see you later.